Welcome aboard for a Saturday morning. This is the AM. I'm Rob Akinpora from the Share Universe Studios here on the Jersey Shore, and the man to my right was willing to come back again. What a poor man that he is.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
You really are, but I got to say right now, thanks to the Garden State Film Festival for bringing Ken and I together, because when you were promoting a little film, which we're going to talk about shortly, it's because you were in the festival. You and your co-star Matt Servito, God bless you both for coming on. It was just such a fun session. And then you finally tell me, photo number one, please, that this film is finally coming out nationally, a comedy of horrors. You may pre-order right now on Amazon. It will make its debut on April 12th. I bring back Ken Arnold from his bunker in Maryland. Welcome aboard, my friend.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, man. This is such an exciting time for us. We got this release of Comedy of Horrors. It's been such a long time since we met at the Garden State. And, it's just been crazy. We were told that our distribution actually was going to be end of April. And then all of a sudden we got a message saying, they pushed it up to April 12th.
Wow.
So then we kind of scrambled and we're, doing what we can to promote this thing because it's been 2 years since we shot the movie. And, it's time. It's time to show everybody the great work from the cast and the crew, all the hard work they put in, and it's time to get it out there. So.
Is it frustrating in a sense that it took 2 years? Or let me put it this way. You're a former baseball player. You played 9 years of minor league baseball. Sure. And I would think that what you learned in baseball, which obviously patience at the plate, patience in general, some of that has to tie into helping you in this world of film, knowing that, hey, look, this is not something that's like instantly going to just click like that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take your time. You got to develop. And I don't like the cliche about a process, but it is a process.
It really is.
Because you've got to develop these things. It takes time. You've got things in post-production that you have to wait on, like special effects, and then the sound design and the composition, the music composition, and it all takes time. And if you don't have patience, and especially at this level, at the indie level, because a lot of people are working below their normal rate,
right,
trying to help you out. Mm-hmm. And, they're doing it on the weekends. They're doing it when, because they got to pay their bills and they got to make, do their real job.
Right. Exactly.
even us, we're doing the same thing. But you just have to be patient in this industry, and things will come if you continue to walk the walk.
It's a good way of putting it. Really good way of putting it. And now it's like, right now, it seems like it was starting to pay off a little bit before this, but right now it seems like this is the pinnacle for you right now with this coming out, another film that you just got in the can, a lot of good things going on in your world.
That's true. We got this coming out. I have the HBO series coming out at the end of the month on April 25th. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, too.
Oh, we definitely are, because I've already seen the trailer for that. That looks amazing. It really looks like something everybody should watch.
Yeah, and it's gonna be great. I mean, John Bernthal's in it. Wunmi Masaku from she was in Loki. I mean, I got to work with her. All my scenes are with her. She's amazing. So
that was worth the experience right there, I'm sure. And it's not something you really figure out until you get the script and everything, and you kind of look at it and go, wait a minute, I'm going to have screen time. Oh, yes. Okay.
Exactly. I read it, and then you see who the actor's playing that role, and you're like,
yes.
I get this, because I'm a huge Marvel fan, and just, I'm like, I think I peed my pants a little bit.
This is where you say, yes, I'm having a really good year. Thank you.
Yeah. Even, it was a tough year last year.
It really was.
Because of the pandemic and all the stuff that we had to do. It made it more difficult to do those things. And when we talk about Austria and we get into that whole scenario, because it was a year ago now that we were in Austria.
I mean, that was the funny part. When we did the interview, it was literally like, we did the interview, you had the film at Garden State Film, and then it was off to the seas, which we'll get into a town called Purgatory. But since you're wearing and promoting it very well, the Comedy of Horrors, Volume 1. Yes, they have tchotchkes available. Go follow them on their Facebook page. It's
exactly.
Good. The film, it's a bunch of vignettes that have come together, and it is comedy and horror coming together. And all I can tell you is if you're in for a great ride with a lot of these vignettes, great people. We mentioned Matt Servito. I mean, obviously, Matt and you have now become kind of connected in this world more than ever before. You can catch him on Billions, still playing Bob Sweeney, which I love that. Henry Zabriskie, come on.
He's hilarious. Yeah, he's great.
So, I mean, taking him from Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. I mean, Gary's such the quintessential character in that show. And it's sort of, he gets to flex his muscles a little bit more in this film than he's done in other things. So I'm glad for him. He looks funny as anything.
Yeah, and he is. And, just Matt being able to get him to be in his film was such a cool get, because Henry is busy. He's got the Last Podcast on the Left. He's doing a lot. He's doing comedy shows all across the country and around the world. Yeah. So, I mean, just to have him in this film is it's huge. It's huge for us.
I'm going to mention one other name because it's a name that people will remember from back in the 90s. Rain Pryor, who was a part of Head of the Class. She also did Rude Awakenings. We finally hooked up on Facebook and Twitter. She's a lovely woman. By the way, she's somebody you should be following for sure. She's got some great quotes and stuff. But how did that come about? I mean, it's not somebody that, it's seemingly like she's kind of put her career on the side. She's done the writing, she's had a best-selling book, but acting is sort of more of a sideline for her at this point.
At this point, yeah, but we always try to find a place for her in our projects.
I'm noticing that. Yes.
Yeah. She was in The Night Watchman. She was in this Comedy of Horrors. And of course, as we go along, we'll find a place to have her in and we'll work her into these programs. But she's directing. I just went and saw a play that she directed called Becky's Place, not far from here out in Frederick, Maryland. It was a hilariously funny show. She did such a phenomenal job directing it. I think tonight is the closing night, or last night was the closing night. If somebody could comment or something on just let us know. So
and cheers to Rain on that. And it just rained on me. Prior Wisdom is the hashtag you want to watch for on Twitter. She's got some really good insights. I follow that very religiously now. I've gotten hooked on it. But you bring these people together, and what are we talking about? It's 4 vignettes, right? We got 4 vignettes on a Comedy of Horrors.
Actually, it's 5. You have 4 short stories and then a 5th that kind of ties them together.
Mm-hmm. So. And we're going to play the trailer in a second, but the one thing that I love about the trailer, and I'm not going to give it away completely, look for the kid in the kindergarten class. And it is the line of the trailer for me, because every time I see it, I just start cracking because it sums it up beautifully.
You know what they say, never work with animals and kids. So, but you know what? Anytime kids can make me look better, I'm in. I'm in. So.
And you know what? And that's the whole thing. The teacher kind of sets the whole thing up. So there are levels to this you got to get into. And once you start watching it, forget about it. You're in for a great ride. So sets it up beautifully. Chris, if you can scroll down, let's give everybody a little bit of a taste. Once again, it will be coming out April 12th through Amazon. So you can pre-order right now. Here is a little taste of A Comedy of Horrors, Volume 1. Check it out.
I have a very special treat for you all. I'm going to read from my very favorite book. We're going to start with the little tale called Welcome to Clown Town.
What happened in 1988? Baker's dozen dead, heads severed, no real witnesses. None that lived anyway.
I think someone's following me.
1988 all over again.
Don't you think this blood and guts, low-budget horror stuff's kind of obsolete?
I was taught by a Voodoo priestess how to harness a soul in order to properly prepare it for the afterlife, and I've used those traditional teachings very, very effectively.
It's not safe. He's puppet royalty, so he does not come out of the case ever. No way. Nope.
Oh my god, it's really him!
He's not a puppet, he's a monster.
How are you doing the voice? Is it like a ventriloquist thing? You basic bitch! Ventriloquism is the scrotum of the puppet world!
I don't think these stories are age appropriate.
Morning, bitches! I promised you all a big surprise for this bachelorette weekend. You've all been poisoned. You know that tingling in your fingertips? That's your nervous system shutting down. In case not everyone saw, there's only 2 doses of antidote. It's time for you to choose your new maid of honor.
Come die, bitch!
This is voodoo! It's voodoo, baby! You want my head?
Yeah, embrace the party spirit.
Not a good idea.
Show is over.
As we're just cracking up behind the scenes here. First thing I've got to ask, the Muppet in general, that gives me like 3 Muppets come together at once. It's like part Oscar, it is part Grover, I mean, it can even be part Elmo. It's almost like the three of them mushed together becomes this character, but definitely taken on the scale of, yeah, this is twisted.
Exactly. So Michael Paradiso, who created the puppet for us, I mean, he's fantastic. His energy and enthusiasm, about the craft, the art of puppetry, is amazing. The stuff that he does. And we're going to have him actually on my show later today. But it's such a fun part of the film because it is a puppet, a demented puppet.
Yeah, so. and I hate to say it, anybody who's been a fan of The Muppet Show or even Sesame Street have had these thoughts of like going, well, what if these were actually a little more, what if Oscar the Grouch was a twisted mother? The answer comes in A Comedy of Horrors Volume 1, basically.
Exactly. Pretty much. So I just can't say enough about, working on set with him was insane. There's so much great stuff that he gave us. Right. We had to edit some of it out because it just, we had to keep the story going. It would be great if it could have been a feature with all the stuff he put into it. But
I'm sure it's something you might think about later on if this does pretty well. So there you go. And props also to two people. Thanks to you, they're now friends of mine on social media, Dan DeLuca and Jamie Nash, who are directors in this. Everybody had a piece of directing in these vignettes. And Matt did, you did. So it all ties together through the classroom. And like I said, that little kid, I don't know if this is age appropriate.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that in the trailer, I'm just dying because it's so true.
Again, the kids were classic. They gave us so much great stuff. We had to, cut out some of it too, because we just couldn't use, one take was hilarious. The next take was hilarious. And the next one was even better. So
were these forgive me, were these just kids that just wanted to do this, or were they aspiring actors? What was the story on that, Ken?
Yeah, they were aspiring actors. We actually went to a kids talent agency, and these are the kids that they sent us. These kids want to get into business, and this is their opportunity. And they were a lot of fun.
And it makes me think about something we talked about the last time, because one of your first breaks in the business after you got out of baseball was doing small stand-in roles on All My Children, whether it be an orderly, a policeman, whatever the case may be. And back in the day, that was where you got your start. That was where you kind of got the opportunity. Nowadays, I think indie film, would you agree, is sort of the platform for kids or just new actors to get an opportunity?
Yeah, I think that independent film is the area to go, but there's so much more content being created now than was when I first started out, because of all the streaming services, and you have so many different platforms now, and they're all creating their own content. And as time goes, there are more and more people doing that, and they're doing it at a high level. You can make a film on your iPhone now.
Yeah, I know.
And people have done it, and these films are amazing looking, and they, the sound is great, and they're award-winning films. And as long as you can keep doing that, and you can put it on YouTube, you can put it on Amazon, and you can get these things out there, it is a great opportunity for these kids nowadays to do that. I started, my first thing was extra work on Homicide, Life on the Streets.
Which makes sense. Filmed in Baltimore. Absolutely. So there was at least it was an opportunity in your backyard to kind of go, oh, cool. At least I get to do a great show and I don't have to travel too far. So, all right, good start.
Yeah, and it was a good start. And I took it as an opportunity to learn filmmaking. So it's filmmaking 101. You watch what they're doing. You watch each department set the lights, the sound department do their thing, the DP do, the director, what was happening there when they were telling the crew what to do. And then I became a stand-in, and I got to work with Steven Spielberg as a stand-in. Come on. I was paying such close attention to him and Janusz Kaminski that, I mean, it was unreal. This is film school, and if you're not paying attention, you just wasted your time. And I was not going to miss that opportunity.
Right. I'll give one of the opportunities. You play Buzz Aldrin in Men in Black 3. You get an opportunity to be on camera, but I get the feeling you were digesting as much as you could during the experience with the director and how they do things and all the behind the scenes stuff that goes with it.
Sure. Barry Sonnenfeld was fantastic.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how was Barry? Yeah.
Just watching him work is great. But, it happened so fast, the Men in Black thing. I got there at 6 a.m.
Right.
And I was done by noon. So I only had 6 hours on set. It went
that's
fast.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And they put me in a spacesuit, and, we were in this little tight capsule, and we stayed in there for hours until we were done. I think it was in there for 2-3 hours as they were shooting all the different angles. And even when they went to change camera angles, we couldn't get out.
Oh, wow.
Because we were in the spacesuits and they were pumping oxygen and we were all hooked up.
Right.
And, we couldn't hear what Barry was saying, right? So we had a little portal window like this.
Oh, wow.
And he kept sticking his face in like, boom. And he'd look in and he would say, and we couldn't hear what he was saying.
Yeah, right.
Because we had the oxygen was pumping in. So all you heard was, right? And then he goes like this. And we tell him, we can't hear you.
You should have been like, Houston, we have a problem.
Yes. He goes like this. He goes through the portal. He gives us a thumbs up. And then he disappears, right? And then his face comes back in. He's got a megaphone. And he's like, can you hear me now? We're like, yes, Barry. We
hear you. We
can hear you now, buddy.
Here's one I wanted to bring up last night. I just ran out of time, but since we're talking about education on the fly, give me photo number 8. Now, this is a mini-series that did come out. There you go. The Looming Tower, which featured Jeff Daniels, a fantastic actor. Peter Sarsgaard was also involved in this. You had a few of the episodes in this series. I mean, what did you take out of that? Because I get the feeling you probably had a little more time on set than you did on Men in Black 3.
Oh, absolutely. I was on set for days.
Yeah.
I got to, in my scene, I sat next to Jeff Daniels.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, photo number 7, just to give everybody a little refresher of, there he is. General Stetson, there he is in all of his glory. Yeah, I think Yeah, 3-star general. I was just making sure it was 3 or 4 star. But yeah, just to refresh everybody's memory. So there you are. You're in the scenes with him. And, what do you take out of that whole experience?
It's an acting master course. Sitting next to Jeff Daniels, and then he's talking to Peter across the table, and then they're talking to Stool Bars, which is right next to him, and he's playing Dick Cheney, and I'm just watching this going, man, these guys. And then I'm sitting there and watching Sarsgaard. They gave him a whole new monologue, and he goes, yeah, all right, boom.
Just on the fly, just like that. Hey, by the way, Peter, we're gonna change this up like that.
And he just sat and he just looked at it like this for about, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. And then he goes, all right, boom. And I was like, holy moly.
How could
but that taught me, if you want to play at that level, you've got to be at that level. You've got to be at that level. I'm sitting next to Jeff Daniels and I'm just Dumb and Dumber, but that isn't his greatest role.
No, it's not. I mean, if we go to the new series that he did on HBO, I still say that is the pinnacle of Jeff Daniels as an actor. Without
exactly.
That. Yeah.
So, but just to watch him work right next to me, I mean, I could just go like this and touch him, like, oh, Jeff, sorry, Jeff. And then across the table, we got Sarsgaard, and he's doing phenomenal stuff. He just did Dope Sick.
Yes.
So on Hulu, which was fantastic. And Stool Bars was in that as well. Dope Sick. And those guys, wow, I was in awe the whole time. But I paid attention. I watched what they did. I saw how they conducted themselves. That's where I want to be. That's the level I want to get to. And I paid close attention.
I can feel the comparisons in my head of like, you're talking about acting. I can compare this to baseball. It really does have so many same things about the success of acting and the success of baseball. It's very much on the same plane.
Yes, it is. Professional sports acting, you have a lot of things and it's about consistency.
Yeah.
It's about getting into a routine and doing the same things over and over again consistently well. Right. So guys that in professional sports, they can consistently hit line drives. Yeah. They're going to be the better hitters. Right. Absolutely. Guys that can consistently throw strikes are going to be the better pitchers. Right?
Yeah.
Actors, those that can consistently give solid, good performances are going to be your better actors.
So, and they're always going to find work no matter what, because the reputation is they're solid.
Yes. And they can make adjustments on the fly.
Like you said, that's a great example you gave with Sarsgaard. I had no idea that happened. That's incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all about adjustments in sports and in acting, making adjustments when you can just boom, this is okay, adjustment, let's do it. Boom. And then you just jump right in and you go ahead and do it. So
good stuff.
The funny thing is that, you get sports and then you get into acting and the filmmaking world. There is a slight difference, right? In baseball, when you're up there at the plate, you're kind of on your own. You know what I mean?
You against the pitcher, you're trying to figure out, okay, what I know what his best pitch is. Is he going to throw it here? How is he going to work me when he gets on the mound? He's probably done his homework on me. He knows what my strengths and weaknesses are. So it is a chess match in that sense.
Yes, and when you're in the field and the ball's hit to you, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah, it's true. Very good point.
But in filmmaking, it's a collaboration of everybody involved, to make you look good. And it's the makeup department, it's the hair department, it's the costumes, it's the the editing, it's all of that, and it comes together as a whole unit, and you're aware of it as you're doing it. So in sports, I equate that because there's a collaboration there too. Don't get me wrong. You have coaches and all of that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that when you have to stand on the X, so to speak, in both, right? It's more of a collaboration, and you feel more like it is so when you're working in the film industry. So then in sports.
No, that's a really interesting take. I wouldn't have thought of it that way. That's really interesting.
Yeah. In sports, man, it's you in your moment doing your thing to help your team.
Yes.
Right. But it's slightly different in the fact that, when you're doing everything on a set, you feel that everybody's helping you. When you're up there and you're facing 97, it's like, man, I'm not worried about the guy who's playing second base that day. He ain't helping me right now. He ain't helping me at all.
No, I'm the only one that can hit this 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and I better be right where the location is going to be with the pitch. So if I hit it, there's my base hit or my double.
Exactly. So
it's a good way of looking at it. Ken Arnold's here on the A Game. Another great project. We Own the City is coming out. We Own This City, coming out on HBO April 25th. This miniseries from the guys of The Wire. So this is based on a true story that happened in Baltimore. Ken, set it up a little bit more about this story.
Well, it's based on the book We Own the City.
Yeah.
From the Baltimore Sun writer, and it's true. It's a true story about corrupt police officers in Baltimore. Wow. And one in particular, played by John Bernthal, and it's just digs and dives into that whole corruption scandal that happened. And David Simon, George Pelicanos, man, they got this on lockdown. Man, they do such a fantastic job with this kind of a show. I was on The Wire, had a tiny role in that. This role is a little bit bigger. Which is really kind of nice for me, and I appreciate that. It's always a pleasure to work with those guys. I was in one of the coolest TV shows ever made, The Wire.
Absolutely, and obviously they remembered you when you were kind of lining up for the potential of getting on the show, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, same casting director, Pat Moran, down here in Baltimore. I went through her office, and they always give me opportunities, which is fantastic, and I thank them for that.
So. And I do notice there is a distinctive area feel because, Bernthal is from the D.C. area. Josh Charles is a Baltimore guy. When I interviewed him on the radio many years ago, we got into the whole thing. He even said it, look, let's face it, Rob, I'm wacko for Flacco. He was totally on the Joe Flacco bandwagon at that point when he came to the Baltimore Ravens. So he's a big-time Baltimore guy. And then you got other great contributors. Rob Brown, who is a fantastic. If you've never seen the movie Express, the story of Ernie Davis, go watch it. You are missing out if you haven't seen that. Gabrielle Gutierrez, who's from 90210 fame. Yep. Treat Williams, who everything he does, I like. So, to see his face on the trail, I went, ooh, okay. Got me on that. And look, Bernthal's red hot right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. His first feature film we worked on together. I worked on that with him. I play his subconscious, which is fantastic. It's called Mary Mary, and it's a lot of fun. We did it at American University, and we shot it in 2000. And it came out in 2001, but it was his first feature, and you could see in that first feature that he was going to be big. Also starred Sean Kerrigan, who has also done really well, especially in the soap opera world out in LA. And he's been on soap operas for years. But both of those guys from the area here in DC, we went out to LA, and Bernthal's just blown up, man. Just crazy. It's insane.
I did recognize one photo. When I was looking at the cast list, I did recognize one photo. Herc from The Wire, Dominic Lombardozzi, is also in the movie. The miniseries, excuse me. Yes. Yeah, so it's nice to see. Like I said, you're seeing some of the old crew come into this. Yeah. And again, they consciously made the effort to get local people to really tie the story together, which I think makes it even more appealing.
Oh, absolutely. And you have the area and the accent that goes with the area. Fortunately for me, I have a Philly accent, which isn't too different than Baltimore.
Well, and it's funny because I know you did spend some time growing up on the Jersey side too, and you went to Wagner College. So it's like Philly accent, Jersey accent, New York accent, and then it's like, and somehow you could have had 5 different accents. And as an actor, this is why I give you praise. You know how to just be like, no accent. I'll just talk like myself, but I know how to inflect when necessary.
Yes, I'm myself. You know, when I do anything in Baltimore, I just act. You know, I talk like I talk around here every day. People, people know. They're like, "Oh, you must be from here." Well, yeah, I am. I live here now. And the funny thing is, when I go back to North Jersey, when I go back to Wagner, I immediately fall right into that accent.
I'm the same way if I go visit, like I got family down in Long Island. When I used to go out and visit, it's like, bing, all of a sudden my Jersey accent just kind of it just happens. You don't even know. You don't even realize it. And then after a while, you kind of go, what just happened? Huh?
Okay. And then you start hearing yourself saying things like "wooder." It's not water.
Water. Radio, 25 plus years, I learned how to pronounce water. Very important. We Own the City, the miniseries. Give me photo number 2, Chris, real quick. This is a great way to promote it because there it is. We Own the City. Again, on HBO. Watch the 10-part series. Ken, you're going to come in about what episode? Do you remember?
I think I'm in the first one.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, I remember when we did the read through, I was in 4 of the scripts we read. So I'm thinking I'm in 4 of the 6 episodes, but I'm most definitely in the first one. I can't give away too much about it.
No, don't. But I will encourage everybody to at least go to YouTube, watch the trailer, and it sets it up really well. Great cast.
I'm going to share the trailer again many times on my Instagram and Facebook.
I will do the same. I will definitely help that out a little bit more too.
Awesome.
I've got to talk about this because you recently were in Austria during all the craziness, because we kind of touched on it a little bit, but we didn't get too deep into this.
Yes.
First off, why did you choose Austria to do the film that will be coming out next, A Town Called Purgatory?
Well, we met an Austrian producer when we were out at the American Film Market out in Santa Monica in 2018. We went out there and we met a guy by the name of Frederick Fussel, and he owned a production company in Vienna, or just south of Vienna. And he wanted to do a collaboration, and we were actually supposed to do a road trip movie across Romania, through Romania.
Whoa!
But because it's hilarious. This movie too is a road trip comedy, horror comedy, and we still want to do it at some point. But we were, when the pandemic started, we had to shut that down. There were too many locations, too many crew. But it would just be so difficult to try and do that. During the pandemic, it was crazy. So we shut it down, and we were having a Zoom call one day. And with Frederick over in Austria, and just joking, we said, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to have an old Western town in Austria that we could shoot a film at?" And he goes, "I do. I have one right down the street from my house." And we were like, "What?" So the following day, he's given us a tour, via Zoom on his phone.
So you're seeing the photos through the phone, and your first thought is, "Oh my God.
This is it. This is it. We could create a bubble, right? We can have everything in that one set. Guess what? There's a hotel on the set. All the crew and cast can stay in a bubble. Boom. Nobody's, the new movie."
And in a sense, forgive me for interrupting, it was the perfect scenario because being in the pandemic, you do have to isolate. So here's this bubble. You've got the hotel right here. You've got this thing popping up, which you didn't expect to pop up, and you can actually do it. I mean, you still had to go through a lot of the red tape and the protocol, but half of the battle was won just by that, wasn't it?
Exactly. That was part of, because it saved us money. We didn't have to house people someplace else, and then have them travel to set. They were on set, and that's where they lived, and that's where they ate, and that's where they did everything, shot the film. And we had no incidences of COVID at all.
Amen. Fantastic.
Which was fantastic the whole time. And also the government in Austria did the testing for you. So we didn't have to pay for any of that. Whereas here in the US, it probably would have added 20% to 30% to our our costs.
Yeah, I was hearing that. And that's one of the big reasons why we didn't see a lot of releases over the last year or two, because the cost factor. So you actually found a way to actually make a cost-effective independent film. You just didn't think in a million years you'd be going to Austria.
Yeah. And we made a deal with the Austrian producer, Fred, that he would have the incentives, because they had an incentive program over there.
Right.
He would keep the incentives, but he would also keep the costs down for the production for us. Wow. So we weren't paying full price when we got over there for camera gear and hiring folks and doing all that. He made sure that he kept it under a certain level for us. So we were saving money across the board on this thing, and that's why we did it in Austria.
Right.
So if we'd have done it here, it would have cost us probably twice as much.
Wow. So. Well, and again, for anybody who doesn't know, independent films, it is all about trying to keep things under budget. And that's the good thing now that we're starting to come out of everything, is that indie projects will probably develop more as the protocol continues to relax. But in the height of everything, to have that fall into your lap, I mean, that had to feel like, okay, God is smiling on us right now that we get this break, that you don't have to wait another year or two to do the filming.
Yeah. So, it was, and we moved really fast on it, and we had to, and it was just a blessing to be able to shoot something during the pandemic instead of just waiting it out and just relying on a comedy of horrors to be the next project. And then once that was done and the pandemic was over, getting into our next project. No, we were lucky we could do it. And, I got to tell you, man, watching the rough edits, it's pretty darn good.
I got to catch we're going to play a little bit of a, we'll call it a rough cut. It's not the official trailer. We're going to play a rough cut of what to expect. I like the premise of this. I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit more after we do this. This is a little sneak peek. This is a town called Purgatory, filmed in Austria. Check it out.
You see that? Bit chilly not to have a fire burning somewhere. No smoke, nothing.
Think them was coyotes?
Big. Real big.
Are you saying the Indians did this?
Not Indians. One Indian.
What's a man of the cloth doing locked up in here?
Piles of dead, bodies without number. People stumbling over the corpses, all because of the wanton lust of a prostitute.
Where'd you come?
Matt Servito has directed this film. This will probably come out maybe next year, but I mean, so far, that little snippet tells you this is going to be intense. But give us a little bit more to set it up a little bit more, Ken, on what we're going to be looking at when that film comes out.
So it's a horror Western. You think you're in a Western, and then all of a sudden it goes sideways, and all of a sudden all these horrific things start happening. And essentially it's the trope where, you got a small group of people trapped somewhere and they can't get out, and they have to survive the night and just make it to the morning if they possibly can, and defeat the monster.
It's amazing to look at that. And every time that I know the whole story about this set just kind of showing up because it was already there. I mean, that's amazing that it was all just, and you're right, too perfect, almost way too perfect.
It was, and when you see these Western towns, a lot of these things here in the United States are just a facade.
Yes,
but this was an actual 3D town with inside sets and things for us to shoot in. We shot in the saloon, we shot in the jail, we shot in the bank, and all of these things were just there for us to use. So we didn't have to spend a lot of money on set decoration because it was already there.
Yeah.
So we were able to take with us Shane Morton, who does Your Pretty Face Is Going to Hell.
Yes.
And he did a lot of our special effects and makeup. And he also did some of the set dressing, which you'll see throughout the movie. And we were fortunate to have him. And the crew over there in Austria, we had it was difficult at first, but once we got into a routine,
yes,
it was difficult because we had Romanians. We had Austrians that spoke German. We had Italians, our camera, second camera, and our AD were Italian. But fortunately for us, DeLuca speaks fluent Italian because he grew up there.
Bravo, Dan.
And then, of course, we had folks who just spoke English. So at first, it was difficult, the communication. But once we got into a system and a routine, we were able to be more effective as we moved forward and went through things. So.
This may be a stupid question, so I apologize if it is, because this is just me not knowing. Does having a foreign, ensemble coming in, does that give you a leg up and maybe getting a release in Austria where maybe you can do the full premiere and do all the red carpet kind of thing?
Yeah, we're probably going to go over to Vienna, and there's a nice, beautiful theater where the producer was like, yeah, this is where we'll premiere the film. So we're going to go to Vienna, and we're going to have a premiere in the theater there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get over there because Vienna was beautiful. We just didn't get an opportunity to see it.
Sure. That's what I was thinking. If you get that opportunity, and there it is, the perfect opportunity. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll get to go back and I'll get to see some of the things because you couldn't go. They were on full lockdown. We couldn't go in restaurants. You couldn't go in. The only stores that were open were grocery stores and the apothecaries, the pharmacies.
Yeah.
And that was it. Everything else was shut down. You couldn't go into anything. And it kind of stunk. We did get to walk around Vienna one day. And we were able to go into churches because churches didn't close.
Right.
And the churches there are beautiful. I mean, you're standing in a structure that was built in the 1400s. Get out of town, right? You're just like,
it almost feels like it was a tease for you to kind of go, okay, we're getting a taste of Vienna. We're not getting enough of the meat of Vienna,
Yes. So it was beautiful. And like I said, it was a great time over there, making a feature film with my friends. We had DeLuca, Servito,
you had
Kevin Jiggets. Yeah. Kevin Jiggets was over there. I wish we could have taken more people with us, but again, we had to keep costs down.
Sure.
Flights and putting those people up would have, everything would have been, a burden on the film. So we had to keep costs down and we only could take a handful of people with us. Right. But the actors we hired over there were phenomenal. Great. We were just like, we were like, how are we going to find these people?
And it is. Yeah, it all comes together. I mean, that right there is a great story that you're sitting there probably thinking, okay, we still got to fill, and the loose ends came together in a magical way, obviously.
Yeah, and fortunately for us, those actors were way better than we were. So, so it makes us look good. Thank you very much.
It's all about making you guys look good. I love it.
Exactly. So
Ken Arnold's here on the A Game. Okay, you've been through this, so you know where I go now. I go random shots. So this is me stalking Ken's social media and his life, and we run it all down here. Last time I did random shots, it was Ken trying to figure out how well he knew Matt. Now, Matt Servito knew Ken.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it ended at tie. So I mean, nobody really won that match. But this is me kind of going, all right. I've gotten to know Ken a little bit over the last year. I know where his passions lie. And I think I can do this justice by starting here. Give me photo number 3, please, because we have mentioned his minor league baseball. There he is in the Chicago Cubs garb. I'll elaborate that in a second, but it goes to my first question. We all know Bull Durham's sort of the ultimate baseball movie, but outside of Bull Durham, what would be your favorite baseball movie?
Oh, The Natural. It's my favorite movie, period.
Oh, wow. That's a good choice. Can't argue that one.
I mean, Robert Redford, Glenn Close. I mean, it's amazing. Roy Hobb, man. Come on, Roy Hobb.
Exactly. Son, you don't start your career now, you retire.
Yeah. So, Wilford Brimley, and I got a picture with him not too long ago.
Oh, wow.
Before he passed away.
Yeah.
But I was at a horror con, and he was there representing The Thing, and I waited in line just so I could get my picture with him, and I got so excited. So.
Absolutely. And to go back to the photo one more time, Chris, to pull it up. Now, when you were with the Cubs organization, you were in the actual Cubs uniform. Was this a spring training situation? Were you in spring training?
Yeah, we were actually in Arizona. That picture was taken in Arizona. It was at lunchtime. We were sitting up against the little shack where they fed us every day. I think it was a cup of soup, a sandwich, like a bologna sandwich, and a banana. That was what we had for lunch.
That's what you get for being a rookie.
And I still have that jersey. I mean, I'm looking at it.
How could you not? How could you
hanging on my wall right there? It's hanging in a frame on my wall right there.
You should. Absolutely. I mean, what was that experience like? Because, I mean, not many minor league players even get to go to spring training. So there you are with all the Cubs. And give me a little insight into the Cactus League at that point.
It was fantastic. And I got to play with the big league guys. Greg Maddux was there at the time when I was there. I got to play with Andre Dawson, Mark Grace. Sandberg I saw, but he was on a split squad and he was playing somewhere else the day that I was playing up there. But just to be in the dugout with those guys, come on. I mean, Andre Dawson hit a home run that day. I was like, oh my God, that's one of the hardest balls I think I've ever seen hit in my life. So,
is the sound what I think it is? Everybody says there is a certain sound that you don't get unless you're down there. So the sound is actually real.
Yes, the better hitters in the game, the guys that seemingly have this unlimited power. Like today in the game, you hear guys like Bryce Harper hit. His bat sounds different when it hits the ball. Shohei Ohtani, his bat sounds different when it hits the ball, and that's true. It is. It always has been, because that wood, when you hit it the right way, it just sounds so sweet. And so I can't stand the aluminum sound. Drives me nuts.
Ping.
Yeah, I can't stand that. No, composite. No, I can't stand that. So,
since you did a town called Purgatory, the other thing I've noticed by digging into your files is that you've done some things that lean Western. As a matter of fact, photo number 9 here, you are with a former 60s legend, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yes, Darby Hinton. Darby Hinton. Yes.
That's from the Daniel Boone series from back in the day.
Yeah.
So there you are doing Western there. So it raises the question. I'm going to pigeonhole this a little bit more, because when I think of Westerns, I think Clint Eastwood. Best Clint Eastwood Western.
Ooh, I love them all. The Unforgiven is got to be probably one of my favorite. But Fistful of Dollars. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It's so hard.
It's a tough question. Exactly. You could have picked any one of the three, and you'd be like, "Oh, you can't argue it."
They're all good. They're all great, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but read my coffee mug. It says Bill Tillman and the Outlaws.
Oh, what a coincidence! Give me photo number 9 one more time. So that was the movie that you did there, and what's it like? I mean, you obviously knew who Darby was when you're kind of going into it, and from what I read about him, it's like he shied away from everything Daniel Boone for many years, and I think he started to embrace this a little bit more by the time you were doing that film. Am I accurate on that?
Oh, he is super involved in Western stuff out in Los Angeles and all around the country. He goes to the conventions. He signs autographs, and he totally embraces it, as he should, because people love him.
Yeah,
and he is a great guy. It's hanging out with him on set and being around them. It was phenomenal. And I also got to work with Robert Carradine on that. And
yes,
Lana Wood was on it, and Lana was fantastic. She was a sweetheart, and it was just a good time. I had a lot of fun shooting that. We shot it out in West Virginia.
Oh wow! Well, you know what? That I could see that would be a good location site for that kind of movie, without a doubt.
Yep, they built a town out there. A lot of facades, but still.
Well, see, this goes. Now I'll tie it back to a town called Purgatory. From just educating yourself and looking at the experience of like going, okay, so they're actually building everything, and you start digesting this, and you start going, oh wow, okay, the numbers are. Yeah, as a student of the game, you start running the numbers in your head, and then you come to town called Purgatory, and like you said, for lack of a term, stepping in shit. and getting the break of a lifetime with Austria. So bravo. So
we were very fortunate. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Random Shots with Ken Arnold. Okay, can I have photo number 5, please? He has his own podcast. That's why you see the great equipment that he has. Appleteenies with Ken. He usually runs that on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, his last episode included the top 5 Bruce Willis movies and What Chops Your Ass? Go follow him on Facebook. But it raises the question. Put the photo up one more time because I want you to really look at an Appletini.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta ask, the keys to a proper Appletini. What kind of vodka? Are we talking apple schnapps here? Do we put apple juice? What is the key to the right Appletini?
All right, so it is, the vodka is always fantastic. If you like Grey Goose, go with Grey Goose. If you like Tito's, go with Tito's. I got Reyka vodka, and I don't know if you can see them behind me, but you see the Reyka vodka.
I do indeed. Matter of fact, sir, I do.
Behind me. So I'm drinking the Reyka right now, and I really like that, but it keeps me up at night.
Really?
So the sugar or whatever's in it, I go to sleep, and then I wake up at like 3 a.m. anytime I drink it. And I'm just wide awake, and I'm just like, all right, got to do something. And it's always been the case. So it's the vodka, and then you put the puckers in it.
Okay, I know puckers, absolutely.
And you really want to make it good. You get a little bit of apple juice, and you just boom, the Martinelli's apple juice, the little that Dean Martin used to drink.
Yeah,
boom, put that in there.
Good to know.
And then you can put your fruit in, strawberry, cherry, whatever you want, apple. I put little Swedish fish in there. But what happens is the alcohol eats at the sugar in the Swedish fish and makes it really like chewy. It's crazy. Science. I mean, it's science, but whatever.
That's good stuff. I see. I didn't get a chance to ask that last time, so that's why I was glad to ask that. True or false? Were you once a stunt double for Cal Ripken?
True. I was in a bear.
I mean, Cal's not an actor, so I'm trying to figure this out.
In a bear commercial for the All-Star game back in 2014, maybe it was. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but we went and we did in Aberdeen, which isn't too far from here. It's about an hour.
The Aberdeen Ironbirds, that's his minor league team, yes.
Yeah, and that's his facility. So we shot there. And we're doing it. I get there, me and the stunt coordinator, Rick Kane, we're doing all the things. He's throwing balls at me, and I'm catching them. Boom, boom. I'm diving over the wall, catching the balls and everything. And then Cal comes up to me, and he's kind of like, so, did you play before? You look like you played. I go, yeah. And I played for the Orioles. He goes, hey, what position? I go, shortstop. And then we're just looking at each other, and he doesn't say anything. He's like, huh. And I go, yeah, some guy wouldn't take a day off. I turned around and walked away, and he's like, oh, you got me. And I said, well, yeah, you got me when I was a rookie, and I came up to play at the big league level, and we're sitting there taking ground balls, and he throws one at Johnny Oates. And the guy hitting the fungos catches it right before it hits Johnny Oates. Right. And then Johnny looks out at us and he's like looking like, what the hell? Right. And me and Cal are standing next to each other, and Cal just goes like this and points right at me. And I'm just standing there like, what? I wasn't me. Nope. Johnny Oates didn't care. He was pissed at me, not at Cal.
Of course. Yeah, you're never going to be pissed at Cal Ripken. Great story. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was fun. Cal took it as a competition. Now, Cal had back surgery, right?
Right, I do.
Prior to that. So, they didn't want him doing the diving because I dove on top of a dugout to catch a pop-up.
Okay.
And it was on concrete, and they wanted me to do it actually on the concrete. And I'm like, all right, I'm the stunt double. I'll do it.
Yeah, what the heck? Just what I'm getting paid for, sure.
Yeah. So, I was doing that, but he took it as a competition because he saw me doing some of the stunts, and he's like, no, I can do that one. I can do that. And I'm like, Cal, they're not going to tell, man. Let me do it. You won't get hurt. You're a good 10 years older than me, old man. Sit down, Cal. It's my time now. You had your time, 21:32 or 21:31. I'm sorry, 21:32. I always go 1 hour. 21:31. Yeah, it was my time now, Cal. You take a seat. But he's a great guy. I just went to his charity. He has a charity event every fall here in Annapolis, Maryland area. And I just went to it this year. I got a chance to talk to him again. And, he remembered me from doing the stunt double stuff. He didn't remember me when I was a player. But he's probably coming across so many different people, in his life. So
absolutely.
But he knows me now.
That's the good thing. And since we are talking baseball, this is a great way to wrap it up. A couple of baseball predictions from Ken Arnold. I got to start with two guys who will be wrapping up their careers this year. Yadier Molina will be playing his last season with the Cardinals. He needs to catch 120 games to become number 2 all-time for games played as a catcher. Does he get to 120 this season, do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, he will.
Here's the trickier question, because I agreed with you on Yadier. Pujols last season, he usually rejoined the Cardinals. Perfect way for him to go out. But he needs 21 home runs to reach 700 for his career. Will he get 21 this year?
That one's in question. You know, and I'm not 100% sure. But does he's got to play every day. You know?
Yeah, and we know
he's every day.
But he's definitely going to platoon. He definitely found something last year against left-handed pitching. But that's still, what does it give him? Maybe 60, 65 starts at the DH.
Yeah. So is he going to get his 21? You know, I hope he does, because I've always loved Albert Pujols. When I teach hitting, I'm like, take a look at his swing. It's, you know, compact. It's quick. It's the kind of swing you want to be able to put the ball in play consistently, because in today's game, too many guys strike out. And, you know, all you have to do is look at the New York Yankees. But you look at the Yankees to see, you know, that's a lineup built for show, but not to win games. They're not going to win.
I hate to say it. When they acquired Joey Gallo last year, I was like, oh, great. Another guy who's either going to hit a home run, walk, or strike out. Just what they needed.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you know, he's one of the worst players in the game. And I can't even fathom, in my time, a guy like that wouldn't even sniff the big leagues, you know? Maybe.
See, let me do a comparable on that. I'm kind of going off script, which is great. I love doing that. But when you look at the time you were playing, it was a little bit more about batting average. And nowadays, it's like, I mean, nothing against Mike Zunino, who's a great defensive catcher, but he was hitting sub 200 and he was an all-star. How?
You know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous the way the game today is played, where a lot of times they don't even look at the defensive side of the ball anymore. Defense is terrible in the big leagues right now, and catching is one of the worst, you know, parts defensively of the game. That one knee stuff and all that. They can't block balls. There are more wild pitches and pass balls than I've seen in forever. Because when you watched baseball back in the 70s and the 80s, you didn't see a lot of wild pitches. You didn't see a lot of pass balls. You want to know why? Because they put a value on the defensive side of the ball game, and they don't do that now. And they put guys at any position just because they can hit, right?
Yeah, it's funny because it comes to mind, other than the obvious ones like Bench and Thurman Munson, but I can think of Darryl Porter, who was just an outstanding defensive catcher, but he also had other value beside that. So when you're, you know, it was like, yes, outstanding defensively, did enough offensively to keep you going with the Kansas City Royals. But now it's like, okay, you're a catcher. You can't hit. You don't draw enough walks. You don't play enough defense. Maybe you hit some home run. Okay, you hit some home run. You got a job.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes the game, to me, almost unwatchable, because the ball's not being put in play. Nothing's happening. Yeah. Look, for me, right? Baseball, when I look at numbers, because all these analytics and all that baloney that they throw at you now, you know, you look at it, you're like, what is his launch angle, exit velo, and all this is WAR, and you know, I'm like looking at it and going, you know what tells me a player is good, a good hitter? Batting average, right? Runs scored, RBIs, and what you hit with 2 outs, runs and scored position, right? I want to know those things, because if you're hitting a home run, because a lot of these guys, they you know, look at their numbers. They're hitting 200. They hit 35, 40 home runs.
True.
But they're only driving in 80 runs.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. Albert Pujols laughs in your face. He's driving in 120 in his prime.
Right, he was.
120, 130 per year, you know? And these guys, that means to me that you're hitting a lot of solo home runs. So 40, that's 40 RBIs right there.
Right.
And then you're only getting another 40. You know, come on, that's terrible. That's terrible. And nobody talks about any of this. And they start throwing all these terms and numbers at you, and you're like, no.
It's funny. I've only had one other person, and I was lucky to have him on my podcast, former White Sox and former Yankee pitcher Jack McDowell, who basically just
he was a bulldog. Yeah.
What you just said basically is what Jack said on my podcast, almost to the T. So that doesn't surprise me. Knowing a little bit about both of you, I'm going, about your baseball knowledge, I'm going, yeah, not shocked.
Well, here's what's happening. Major League Baseball is changing things and changing rules and doing these things because they think they're going to bring new fans to the game. But what they're missing out on is that they're losing the fans they already had.
Yeah, well said.
Right?
Well said.
And then those people, I don't watch baseball anymore. And guess what I don't do? I don't watch it with my kids.
Wow.
Right? And that's the next generation. And they don't watch it. They're watching TikTok and whatever else.
That's true.
So I'm not going to a game. I'm not taking my kids to a game. And I love baseball. Don't get me wrong. But the way the game is played today, I'm not watching it. It's unwatchable. I sit there and and it's not about the time. It's not about speeding things up.
Right.
It's just about how it's played. It's, everybody's trying to hit a home run. Everybody's dropping that back shoulder and swinging up like they're trying to hit a home run in an elevator shaft. How about we bunt? They're doing a shift on you. Lay one down. Whatever happened with winning baseball games? Whatever happened to that?
You hit it right. You've just been gift wrapped the double. Hello.
I don't understand why they don't do it. Because if I was a hitter and I walked up there and they had a shift on me like that, I'd go, thank you. Boom.
Boom.
I'd hit a double. And now I'm standing on second base and we got a chance to win.
Right. You'd be hitting well over 300 and having a high on base percentage and a lot of doubles. I'm like going, there's my ticket to the big leagues. Give me the shift. Thank you.
So I just don't understand why they're teaching things. Well, and a lot of my friends who are old school baseball instructors they've walked away from the game. They won't.
Wow.
It's like this new wave of coaches and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They had never played at a high level, and then they come in and they try to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with catching nowadays, where they try to go up. They boom, and you see all this going on. That's awful. And, and the fact that they do it and they're teaching that at all levels now, I laugh at it. If I was an umpire and I saw that happening, I would never give anybody anything. I'd be like, I'm not giving you that pitch. You're trying to fool me. You're trying to get me to no. So
I got to go out on a good note with baseball because since you're not watching it, I'm going to tap into your experience. And you did mention him a little bit on my last podcast, but anytime I can bring him up, I want to bring him up. You played 2 years with the Somerset Patriots here in New Jersey. At the time, an independent team managed by Sparky Lyle, who really was the personality and the heart of the Somerset Patriots for decades. Best story with Sparky playing for him.
Best story.
And I know there's a lot of stories with Sparky's. That's why I'm like going, I know you got one classic one, I'm sure.
Well, there are total. I mean, we could do hours, on all the stories I could tell with Sparky Lyle, because like you said, his personality, he was exactly what you saw. And, smoking in the dugout, and he was just like the guy from Major League. Give him the heater, Ricky.
Oh, so he really was Lou Brown incarnate. Oh,
yes, my God. He was. And then we were playing on our first season. We were up in Newburgh, and the umpire, let me tell you something, the umpires in any league stink. But these umpires in the first year of the Atlantic League,
right?
I think they just went down to the local Home Depot, and they were just like, all right, we're going to hire all these guys to come down and umpire games. So, and these guys were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle of a game, there was a bad call made, and Sparky went out, got into an argument with the guy. And then the next thing you know, Sparky comes back and goes, pack it up, we're leaving.
What? Wait.
In the middle of a game.
Holy shit.
And we were like, what? Yep.
Yeah, you got to all be just like in shock. Like, you can't be serious, Skip.
Yeah, this is a professional baseball league. Yep, pack it up, we're leaving. And we all left and got in the bus and went back to the hotel. Now, don't get me wrong, Sparky got in trouble for that.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah,
by the league or whatever. But come on now. It was just insane. It was crazy. And I was like, did we just walk off the field in the middle of the game? I think it was like the fourth inning too. Oh.
I had the privilege of meeting him a couple of times, and he was a joy. He just beamed, and he seemed like it was a guy that probably should have done more, but he seemed so happy in his role with Somerset. He just kept staying there and kind of going, you know what? I'm having fun. What the hell?
And that's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
Sparky was in the right spot for Sparky Lyle.
Well said.
And he flourished in that role with the Somerset Patriots.
Big time.
Former New York Yankee, former Philadelphia Philly. He's like right in between New York and Philly. He has such a great personality. He got along really well with the upper management and Steve Califer, the owner. who started the Somerset Patriots. And he was just fun to be around, and his energy and enthusiasm it came through. Now, I met Sparky when I was still playing with the Cubs in my first year. He had a batting cage facility a few miles from my house, so I would go work out there in the off season.
Nice.
And so I got to know him pretty well through that, because I would go hang out with him. And, so when he was, got hired as the manager and found out that I had just been released by the Pirates, he was like, boom, you want to play? And I said, sure, I'll play. Yeah. Why not? And it was a good relationship. We had a good time, he kind of took me under his wing, which was fantastic. And, I did some stupid stuff in my younger days, and,
haven't we all?
and he kind of looked, past that stuff and, gave me opportunities that, somebody else may not have. So Sparky Lau was really good to me, and I appreciate that.
One quick thought, only because I'm a huge fan of Sparky. If you get a chance and you're a baseball aficionado, look at his stats. It's an interesting thing. It's like he is more close to the Hall of Fame than you think. It's one of those. He would have been one of the rare relievers that would win 100 games as a reliever. He won 99. He just missed out on 1,000 appearances. It's that if he's a little more here and a little more there, he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And people forget he was in the era of the 6 to 9 out save, not the 3. He averaged 5 outs per appearance. The guy, as much as you want to talk about Gossage, I'm happy he's in the Hall of Fame. Let's not forget Sparky Lau and the contribution. There's a reason why he won a Cy Young one year.
Absolutely. Because even when he was throwing us BP, when he was 20 years out of playing, his prime, man, when he threw it, it would sink and dive and move. And you were just we're like, hey, Sparky, throw it straight so we can hit it. He goes, they're not going to throw it straight in the game, so you need to hit it. Boom, and then he'd throw one at you. Because that's it.
I'm about to say, this just sounds like Sparky. It really does.
Thanks a lot, Spark. I just needed that right in my ribs.
Thanks a lot. We're playing in a couple hours. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Spark. Appreciate it.
Chris, give me photo number 1. We're going to wrap up here. Once again, it is available for order right now. So pre-order on Amazon. It's A Comedy of Horrors, Volume 1. It will premiere April 12th via Amazon. The whole cast and crew, Matt Servito, Henry Zabriskie, Rain Pryor, Dan DeLuca, Jamie Nash, who helped in the directing, and of course, my good friend Ken Arnold, who is in the film and also helped direct the film. Best of luck with that. I hope it gets big business through Amazon. Thank you so much for the time today, man.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate you having me on, and all the cast and crew of A Comedy of Horrors appreciates it as well. It's such a large cast and crew, so it's just a phenomenal thing that we brought it all together and made it happen.
It's funny. I actually feel like, in a weird way, I'm an indirect part of it, because everybody, the first time, was like everybody kind of reached out, and now I get to know everybody through social media. So I really appreciate that too. Good people, really good people. Thank you for that.
Yes, thanks, Rob. I'm just excited that it's here, because you get to see how goofy we can be.
Exactly. You will not be disappointed.
Not at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be back next week. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. That's it for the A Game. Take care of yourself. Thanks again, Ken.
All right. You're welcome, Rob. Thank you for having me.